Hi and welcome to On the Limit. This week though, we're looking back on how things have gone in the first half of the Japanese GT season for the little guys in the field, the GT300s. In the Autobax Japan GT Championship, they have a way of dealing with cars that go too fast. It's called penalty weight. You get some of it if you're in the top 3 in a race. You get some if you're one of the 3 fastest in a race. And you cop it if you're one of the top 3 in qualifying. It's effective. So effective that even when a new car turns up and is wickedly quick, the opposition shows no sign of panic. They just know that sooner or later, things will balance themselves out. So it's been in the first half of this 2002 season. Qualifying at the TI Aida circuit at round 1 shows established teams and drivers still making the pace, like former GT300 champion Morio Nitta and teammate Shinichi Takagi, back again in their Aida Toyota MRS. And going quick enough to claim pole, ahead of another former champ, Hideo Fukuyama in the Porsche he's now sharing with Mitsuhiro Kinoshita. Defending champions Nobuyuki Oyagi and Takayuki Aoki qualify 5th in their Nissan Silvia. They're out-qualified by Masataka Yanagida in the other Silvia, a man joined this year by 2001 runner-up driver Tetsuya Yamano. Pole sitter Nitta leads out from Fukuyama and Yamano. Bad luck for the Malaysian team, in trouble already. Behind Fukuyama, Yamano begins to feel the pressure from Aoki in the other works-supported Nissan. He eventually succumbs. Nitta seems untroubled in the lead. But Aoki in the Dacian Silvia is the man on the move, catching and pressuring Fukuyama's endless Taisan GT3R in 2nd place. They fight each other and keep an eye on the rear vision mirrors for the much faster moving GT500 cars, like Katsuyoshi Hoshino's Nissan Skyline. The Autobax Toyota leads easily by mid-race, Nitta handing over to Shinichi Takagi in a quick stop, while 4th place Yamano's handover to Yanagida isn't as smooth. Aoki takes the lead briefly by staying out longer before stopping for Oyagi to take over. And then the little red Autobax Toyota is back in the lead. Not only holding it, but going away. Mitsuhiro Kinoshita still has the endless Porsche in 2nd. Oyagi's 3rd. And Yanagida recovers from the pit stop delay to overtake the Plus E Taisan Porsche for 4th. But this race is a dominant display by Nitta, Takagi and Aguri Suzuki's Toyota team. They win by more than a lap. Nitta embraces his Toyota and teammate Takagi. So a first-up win for Toyota, with Nitta and Takagi taking their little MRS to a runaway win over Fukuyama and Kinoshita in their Porsche. The two Nissan Silvias are third and fourth. The win plus bonus points for pole and one of the fastest laps of the race give Nitta and Takagi 22 points. Fukuyama and Kinoshita are second on 17, and Oyagi and Aoki are third. The stars of round one have to move over and make room for a new contender at round two, with the debut of the VMAC. At Fuji Speedway, on the foothills of Japan's most famous mountain, the mid-engine racer isn't just competitive, it's the star of qualifying, claiming pole by 0.2 of a second. Shinsuke Shibahara leads Akira Watanabe in the only other Honda engine car in the field, the Verno NSX. Minoru Tanaka puts the Wedsport MRS third on the grid, ahead of the only Southeast Asian entry in the series, the BMW M3 driven by Charles Kwan and Genji Hashimoto. An early tangle between two of the GT500 frontrunners has the field running behind a safety car almost as soon as the race begins. Shinsuke Shibahara in the VMAC leads from the start and the restart. The big mover early on is round one winner Nitta, quickly up to fight Akira Watanabe for second from sixth on the grid. Yamano in the Unisea Jex Nissan gets very loose. When one of the GT500 cars stops on the track, bringing out the safety car, there's a rush to the pits. The VMAC rejoining here after its stop. But now there's drama for the Nitta Shinichi Takagi Toyota and others. The VMAC returns to the pits, obviously with a problem as well. Trouble too with the second-placed Honda during its stop. And that puts this car, Guts Jonai's MRS, in the lead, ahead of the car that led much of round one, Minoru Tanaka's Wedsport Toyota. The recovered VMAC is third. Now the VMAC with Shogo Mitsuyama at the wheel is fast catching Tanaka, just as the GT500 leaders come by. Tanaka pulls wide to let the Toyota Supra and McLaren through and leaves himself vulnerable to an attack from the VMAC. And Mitsuyama goes on by for second. Now the lead Toyota MRS is in the pits. We're now well into the second half of this 500-kilometre race, the longest of the year, and Satoru Goto has not only got back ahead of the VMAC, he's holding the best part of a lap's lead on Shogo Mitsuyama, now at the wheel. Now there's a penalty, one of many in this race, on the Chrysler Viper that's up to third place. As he's coming around to take the stop-go penalty, Takayuki Kinoshita's tagged into a spin by a GT500 car. He takes off to get clear of the track and slams headlong into the fourth-place GT500 Toyota of Wayne Gardner. But now race leader Goto's in trouble. His Wedsport MRS is slowing. The VMAC closes dramatically. There's consternation on pit wall for the Project Bando team. And it's with good reason. Mitsuyama goes by to take the lead. And the race win on the VMAC's debut outing. So Shibahara and Mitsuyama end up winning by 11 seconds, ahead of Jonai and Sawa in their Toyota. Atsushi Yogo and Katsuyuki Nishizawa are third in their Porsche. This standout debut put Shibahara and Mitsuyama into a shared points lead, with round one winners Nitta and Takagi, who retired here. Nishizawa and Yogo are third. The JGTC has a big reputation for keeping things equal, giving many different entrants the chance to win. So, with a win apiece for Toyota and VMAC in the opening rounds of the series, the Sugo third round will put that reputation to the test. And true to the code, Nissan steps up in qualifying at this picturesque northern circuit to take its turn. Masataka Yanagida claims pole in the Unicea Jack Silvia he shares with Tetsuya Yamano.
I just want to get up on the podium, at the first place. Yes. I just want to get a champion. That's it.
The Nobuyuki Oyagi Takayuki Aoki Silvia is right behind. Ahead of the luckless Bando Racing Toyota MRS outfit. And showing off its undoubted capabilities, the VMAC shrugs off the 50 kilos of penalty weight it's carrying, a result of its round two win, for fourth. The race is only seconds old when there's a turn one tangle. Shinsuke Shibahara's VMAC tipped into a spin by the Mazda RX-7, driven by Nobuteru Taniguchi. The team's good work in qualifying is all undone. He resumes dead last. But that turns out to be dead lucky. It keeps him out of this crash a couple of corners later. Once again involving Taniguchi, BMW driver Charles Kwan, and the Porsche of Hideshi Matsuda. Taniguchi and Matsuda are out on the spot. Kwan's car is drivable, but is badly damaged. And it only makes it back to the pits and retirement. The restart finds the two Nissans breaking clear, ahead of the Bando and Ata Toyotas and the Subaru. Yamano is holding the lead, but not by much, with Aoki and Minoru Tanaka close behind. When one of the GT500 frontrunners stops trackside, it brings out the safety car and starts a rush on the pits. It's close enough to halfway to make the driver change. The stop brings problems for Morio Nitta's MRS that was up to third. And soon after that, there's a problem for fourth place Satoru Goto. Now looking to pick up the GT300 leader somewhere in this pack, it's the Subaru Impreza with Katsuo Kobayashi at the wheel. And there he is with the VMAC right behind. The number 3 Nissan that led earlier, now with young Masataka Yanagida driving, is quite a way back. This is one of the best battles of the season, with Kobayashi being tracked by Shogo Mitsuyama and the VMAC as they run with the delayed 81 Nissan, now a lap or more behind. Now, right in the midst of the leaders, there's a tangle between the 5th placed Honda NSX and the Chrysler Viper, 7th. Katsuo Takahashi takes a spin. Everyone else escapes unscathed. A big crash for one of the GT500 cars brings out the safety car again. And the following restart ignites the excitement. First with Yutaka Yamagishi spinning and rejoining in a hair-raising few moments. And then a fight for the lead between the Subaru, the VMAC and the number 3 Nissan. And when the VMAC's balked, Yanagida's through for second. Leaving Mitsuyama to almost collide with one of the GT500 Hondas. Now Yanagida's attacking for the lead, with Mitsuyama trying to find a way by the Subaru as well. Yanagita's through. Kobayashi tries to come back at him, but there's a Honda in the way and he's almost taken now himself by the VMAC. It's a fantastic three-way fight raging in the late stages of this race. Oh, and now the VMAC locks it up, snaps right and straight into the fourth place Porsche that's also been trying to get into this action. It's all over for the Porsche. And as Yanagita gets a break on Kobayashi, the slow-moving VMAC is en route to retirement. So Masataka Yanagita takes the second win of his young career after a fantastic fighting finish. So this race of the season so far sees Yanagita and Yamano take the win by 10 seconds, ahead of Kobayashi and Tatsuya Tanigawa. Osamu and Takamasa Nakagawa are third in their Porsche. The win hoists the Unisea Jex Nissan drivers from 11th to 1st. Kobayashi and Tanigawa also come from outside the top 10 for 2nd place. There are a couple of extra factors thrown into the usual JGTC mix for the 4th round of the championship: searing tropical heat and sweltering humidity. That's because this is the Autoback Series' historic first ever championship round outside Japan, in Malaysia. Funny how you can move a series thousands of kilometres, change countries, turn up the heat, and still end up with the same names featuring at the top of the timesheets. Such as VMAC, Shinsuke Shibahara, Shogo Mitsuyama. They're on pole. And the racing project Bando Toyota MRS, it's second. The Unisea Jex and Dacian Nissan Silvias are 4th and 5th. The Autobacks MRS is 6th and trying hard. Plus there's a new addition. The Amamiya Team Mazda RX-7 claims 3rd. Mitsuyama's pole is special, 0.3 of a second faster than anyone, and with 40 kilos of weight on board. And Masataka Yanagita claims 3rd, despite an extra 60 kilos of weight on his Silvia. Shibahara leads from pole in the VMAC, ahead of Minoru Tanaka and Haruhiko Matsumoto in the Mazda. Morio Nitta loses lots of places early on. While Shibahara and Tanaka are still 1-2, ahead of a big fight for 3rd between Matsumoto and Tetsuya Yamano in the Nissan. And now the VMAC's in trouble. A big lock-up and it's speared off straight ahead into the gravel. So now Tanaka leads in the Wedsport MRS. Tanaka, being picked up here by a group of GT500 cars, is lucky he's still just ahead of them as two of them tangle. Pit stop time with the race leader in. The Mazda's in too for its scheduled stop. After the stops, Nobuteru Taniguchi has the RX-7 ahead of former leader, the Wedsport Toyota. The leader, though, is Akira Watanabe in the Verno Honda, since he's yet to stop. Same story for second place Takayuki Aoki in his Dacian Silvia. The only Malaysian team in the JGTC, the Genji Hashimoto BMW outfit, is in from 3rd place. Charles Kwan trying to cool down. Taniguchi is now the clear leader, having a big change of fortune here, having crashed out on the first lap of round 3. Now second place Goto has pressure from Yanagita in the Nissan. And he's got him. Taniguchi, with only a 6th place so far this season, is running to victory. And here's 2nd place Shinichi Takagi, a good comeback from the car's early spin. It's a good position considering the weight on board. And the same applies to Yanagita in the number 3 Nissan in 3rd. And now, following the GT500 winning Honda to the checkered flag, is Nobuteru Taniguchi. On pit wall, Matsumoto's delighted, as is Taniguchi in the car. So the Amamiya team takes its first win in a year by a commanding 30 seconds. Round 1 winners Nitta and Takagi are 2nd. And round 3 victors Yamano and Yanagita are 3rd. In the drivers' standings, Yamano and Yanagita's podium keeps them in the lead, 6 points ahead of Nitta and Takagi. The win earns Matsumoto and Taniguchi 3rd place.